You're listening to The Bon Marie Show. It's 8 in the evening. Tune in every night at 8 to listen to The Bon Marie Show on Irish News Radio or itv.ie. And you can contact anything that you've heard or if anything you'd like to discuss at news@irishnews.net.
Normally don't talk about is immigration, but as I've said for the last few weeks, we're talking about taking, because our land is taken. Very interesting. Today I came across an article I wrote in Facebook, a post I wrote, and it's more relevant today than when I wrote it, which was a few months ago. As I've said before, I go through heartaches for this country. I cannot believe what we're going through, but this is what I wrote. It was about the Constitution, our past, our future, what was and what is. That was then and this is now. Our Constitution, our independence, our neutrality is not worth the paper it was written on. Because we in our stupidity believed in and trusted in the men in power to look after us. They did not look after us. They looked after themselves. We sat and let them. To our shame, we disrespected the men who died for our freedom. We spit in their graves and allowed our self-importance to override our common sense and decency. We signed our freedom, culture, land, water, and utilities away. For what? So we could be enslaved by a foreign power whose only interest is to destroy our land. We allowed abortion on our watch. We allowed gay rights to encroach on our everyday lives. We now allow our children to be brainwashed in schools, leftist schools, where they think there's no life, rules to life or living. We allowed families to be thrown out of their homes, to make way for uncivilised cultures, to replace us. Most of all, we allowed the government and an unelected leader to destroy all what we and our ancestors stood proud and upright to achieve for us. What did they die for when all our hope, culture and good humour is being replaced by a foreign master? We pay taxes from the cradle to the grave. When we think that they can't tax us anymore, they find another and another way to bleed us dry, while awarding themselves on our backs for such a great job that they have done by standing on their people, not with us, but on us. Ireland for the Irish was a dream that didn't last long, did it? Our people and their children are being treated worse than the lowest form of life. Nowhere to put their needs, their hunger, and the destitute, while immigrants are being bestowed with what we paid for. No to the men that died for us. Shuddering, they are mortified, they are ashamed of us, and rightly so. We allowed this by doing nothing. We are in a worse place now, and there's worse to come, more misery. By Rent Boy Leo and the crew won't be content until everything he sees is signed away. We will be outnumbered and outbred and out on our ear with nothing. The Constitution of Ireland is worth nothing. Nothing more than a piece of paper that can be lost in transit like everything else. When history is rewritten, I hope it will say we were lost but woke up just in time to save our little country. Not we were lost because we were brainwashed and scared and had so much self-hate that we forgot or didn't know about the men that gave up their lives for Ireland. Wake up, Ireland. Reading it again, God, it's even more true. I wrote that back a few months ago, and I probably still had a few hope that somewhere that we were going to wake up. It's evident today. It's gone. The country is gone. Now, as I've said before, it's only to work out, now that we have been taken, how to survive. The first thing is really, if you have children, you must look at homeschooling or a pool where you can get a teacher in. You've got to get your children out of this brainwashing in schools. You've got to teach your children the Irish culture, and you've got to teach them their history, and you've got to teach them things that will stand to them and who they are, things that they need to know. With this self-hating identity crisis Ireland's having, it's not what your children need. They need to know who they are, who their culture, who their identity is, who their forefather is, who their ancestors are on this ancient old land. They need to know who they are, and not the bullshit that they get taught in school. If you haven't, just stop using your bank, use everything in cash, pay everything in cash. I've been saying this for weeks. Stop giving them a trace for you and where you are and what you're spending money on. There's little to hope for. We're being more than replaced. It's a genocide. You will be thrown out of your homes for any reason. If the government, it suits that they want your home for immigrants, you will be thrown out without a second thought. In our constitution, everybody had the right to have their own home. You could touch anything. If a business went, you could touch anything from that person but the family home. That's all being changed by Michael D. Higgins. Abortion, and it will be up to birth. The government, particularly if you're Irish, they don't want you. They have no respect or want or need for our history, our past. And we were one of the most purest, right from our ancestors. We had a complete clean slate that we were only mainly mixed on this island, and they want that gone. They want a so-called diversity. They have all these buzzwords, but basically what they want, an end to the Irish race, is what they really want. And when you kill off the Irish race, you've got nothing. Because it wasn't the land that made these people. It was us. It was our ancestors. It was our stories. It was who we were mixed with and where we came from. And that's what makes us Irish. Being born here or breathing in Irish air doesn't make you Irish. This is just a land like any other land. That's not what it made. It was a land supposed to be for the Irish people, and for the real Irish people, the indigenous Irish. But that's gone now. It's been wiped away till non-exist, and everything will be gone to history. And that is a very, very sad day. But as I said, it's too late to look back and feel sorry. Now is to start fighting. If you can't fight for your country, fight for yourselves. Because everything has been taken. If you're Irish, you're not welcome here. They want the non-Irish. The new replacement. Or even more so, a new genocide. Like the famine. This is very much a genocide to clear Ireland of the Irish. Thank you for listening on the Bonry Show on itv.ie. We'll be talking to Eileen tomorrow about the UN again and the bankings and how we got into this mess and why we're in this mess and how we got this self-hating government who is out to destroy us. They're out looking for themselves. They're very happy with their payback they get from the EU and the UN without thinking about the people being thrown out of their homes onto the cold just before Christmas. Absolutely disgusting. Horrible, horrible, inhumane government. And it's not a government for the Irish people. Far from it. Thank you for listening.
You are listening to Irish News Radio. and irishnews.net. Email news@irishnews.net.